Number one fan.
Welcome to another edition of Tracking the Wolves with your voice of NSU Sports. Yours truly, Ben Root. Let's look back at another exciting week of Wolves sports. On the gridiron, NSU picked up their first home win of the season Saturday, taking down Minot State in convincing fashion, 42-14. Northern's defense made the big plays early with 2 fumble recoveries and an interception, while the offense made plays all game long. Jared Jacobson went 20 of 30 passing for 260 yards and a career-high 5 touchdowns. He also racked up 84 yards on the ground on 13 carries. That combined 344 yards of offense was the second most in the conference for the week, and it was good enough to earn the senior QB the NSIC Offensive Player of the Week award. He couldn't have done it without his teammates, though. Jared Hannigan pulled down 5 receptions for 141 yards and 3 TDs, and Connor Doherty hauled in a pair of scores as well. Cam Pudwell rounded out your Northern scoring with a short touchdown run, and it was a nice win as they go on the road this week. On the volleyball court, NSU split their road contest over the weekend. At 13th ranked Wayne, NSU dropped a 4-set bout, but the Wolves bounced back with a 4-set win at Augustana the next day. NSU is still 24th in the nation in the latest AVCA poll. Kelsey Chambers led the team in each match, notching a double-double both nights, ended up with a total of 32 kills and 27 digs. Mandy Karofsky had double-digit kills each day with 23 in all. Drew Smith piled up 61 set assists in the victory on Saturday, and NSU had 4 players in double-digit terminations there. Finally on the pitch, it was a road split for NSU that wasn't half bad. Saturday, Wolves goalkeeper Brittany Teets recorded her second shutout of the season. NSU took down Concordia St. Paul 2-0. Teets sent 6 shots back in the win. Kay Hernandez and Tessa Lander scored on assists from Anna Bondi and Andrea Boisner. Then on Sunday, Northern's offense was held in check, but the defense kept it close. Second-ranked Mankato picked up just a 1-0 win over Northern. They were outshot, though, 32-1 with a shots-on-goal differential of 13-0, and Teets stopped a career-best 12 shots. Wolves just couldn't quite pull off the upset. That's a look back at last week's action. We'll talk with some of your NSU student-athletes next here on Tracking the Wolves.
NCAA championships are something special.
Filled with memories we will carry with us for the rest of our lives.
We ask that you cheer hard for your institutions.
Acting responsibly and courteously towards those around you.
In the spirit of sportsmanship, enjoy the game, and let's provide our student athletes, coaches, officials, and fellow fans the respect they deserve.
Welcome back to this edition of Tracking the Wolves. Here, your voice of the Wolves, Ben Root, with you, and time to talk a little football here on this episode. And joining us is senior linebacker out of Britain, played there at Langford. Of course, a lot of folks follow that team here locally. And joining us, Mike Alberts, linebacker. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Your team's having a good year. High school squad. You've been following the line?
Yeah, I've actually been to a few of their games. I like going back and watching them, and hopefully they can keep it up for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Bo Freeze, we keep talking about apparently verbaling to play some hoops for Northern. Did you have anything to do with that, or?
No, I let him make that decision. I kind of talked to him about how stuff's going, but that was just let him make his own decision.
Did you get to play with him at all? Because it seems like he's been playing forever over there.
No, I never got to play with him, but he was always around the team, and he always water boy. Kind of he just like hanging around the team a lot.
Soaking up some knowledge there on the sideline.
Yep.
So, as far as when you made the transition to college from Langford, was there somebody that kind of took you under their wing here that helped you out in the transition?
Yeah, Shane Clancy, who's on the coaching staff right now, and Paulie, they kind of both, helped me with everything. We were sitting in the dorms. They'd come up to me, hey, Mike, do you have any questions? Do you need help with anything? So, if it weren't for those two, it would have been hard to go from 9-man to 11-man.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting switch there, and what's kind of the biggest adjustment you think with that transition? What was the biggest thing to get used to?
The hardest thing was the terminology. When playing 9-man, the coach is always like, just go find the ball, make the tackle, and here it's don't look at the ball until you're at your spot. So, and then you got to know where your right gaps and all that kind of stuff. So the biggest thing was the terminology.
So some differences there. And
Yep.
before a snap, like say on a typical play right now, what are you kind of looking for and what's going through your head?
I kind of read the guard, tackle, and then into the backfield. So, there's a lot of things to look at, but you just got to have quick eyes and then just read your keys, like Coach always says. Just read your keys and you'll be good.
Kind of a triangle there you're
Yep.
looking at, man.
Yep.
So, Mike Alberts, linebacker with the Wolves, here with us on Tracking the Wolves. Well, on the pro side, we obviously know you root for Langford High School and your college here. Who do you root for in the pros?
Big time Denver Bronco fan.
Okay, so were you pretty happy when they picked up Manning a few years
Yeah,
ago? Then I guess?
really happy.
Are you dreading when he retires?
Yeah, a little bit. I hope the guy we have as a backup right now can turn into a decent one.
I have no. Who is it?
Brock Osweiler.
Oh, okay. See, there's a little trivia question, I guess. Now, nice win last week over Minot State for Gypsy Days. What was the key defensively to getting it done against that squad?
Just attack them. It's what we kind of preach about is what our defense is, just attacking. And we gave up a lot of pass yards on the screenplay the previous games, and we just wanted to attack that and kind of keep them down, getting yards on the screenplay.
And the screen, I mean, you talked about not watching the ball, taking care of your gaps. I mean, that's really critical with that, isn't it?
Yep, you got to key your guy. Like corners, they got to key the receiver. Then they also do the fake screen and then do the slip pass. So they got to just read their keys.
Yeah, so you need to watch out for that stuff. And,
Yep.
Attacking that has led to a lot of turnovers this year. You ended up with 3 more. You're plus 10 on the year in 5 games. It's pretty ridiculous. Has that been like a key point of emphasis for the coaches?
Yep, we always work on getting turnovers. We have a goal of getting so many turnovers per attempts, and whether it's an interception or a fumble, that's what we work hard on, getting turnovers.
Now, last year against Minot, you caught the touchdown that set up the game-winning 2-point conversion. You a little bummed you weren't in on offense this year?
Actually, I was. On one of Connor Doherty's touchdowns, we ran a pass play, and I drew 2 defenders, and Jared hit Connor for a wide-open touchdown.
Maybe they remembered that from last year.
They could have, but hey, it's all right. We scored, so.
So, I know some of you guys on the defensive side get in, too, whenever Pudwell carries it, too. I thought maybe you were in there.
Yep, I was in on that one.
A couple sacks on the season now for you. 1.5 this past weekend against the Beavers. With the rule changes and protecting the QB and all that stuff, do you kind of approach attacking the QB any differently, being careful not to hit him?
Yeah, I mean, you got to have that in mind, but if you go after the ball, is what I try to do, just try to take the ball from the QB or try to strip it. So as long as you're going after the ball or hit below, the way or below the shoulders, you're fine.
Do they have the rule in the college rankings as far as the low hit, like the knees and that type of thing, or is that only the NFL?
You can't intentionally do it. Like, you're wide open and then you just go towards the knees. But if you get cut, we try to, Coach always preaches going over the cuts. So, and if you fall into the knees, then that's what they're cutting you for. So.
Okay. So as long as you're not, like you said, dirty.
Not intentionally.
Yeah. So I don't see it called too often. The last few weeks, more pressure on QBs, it seems like, for the defense. What's been the difference the last few weeks?
We made a big emphasis on beating a block. One-on-one, we got to, take that one-on-one and beat it. So we've been putting a lot of emphasis on one-on-ones and beating the block and, just keep putting pressure on that QB, condensing the pocket.
As you get set for the game this week, I'm sure tape watching going on. Probably something you didn't do, I'm guessing, at high school.
No.
How much do you feel you gain from watching the tape prepping?
Quite a bit, actually. It gives away tendencies they do, or, it just gives you a kind of a heads up of what they run, what they're looking to run. So I think it helps a lot.
Now, Minot this week, you also play them every year because they're, North Division and everything now. What do you remember from them, from tape and from last year, that you need to watch out for?
They do a lot of Texas kind of spread. They like to throw the screens, which we've been working on. They like to just keep you off balance with the run and pass.
Now, Moorhead last year knocked you off by 1 point, last second field goal, and it was on Gypsy Days. Does that kind of stick with you for extra motivation?
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, you keep it in the back of your mind during the week and during the game, and but like I said, all we got to do is just prepare for this year. That was last year, so we just got to work on this year.
Now, since your rookie season here, as we get to wrap things up with Mike Alberts, linebacker for the Wolves, how do you feel, or where do you feel you've improved the most, I guess, since your rookie season?
Being a little more physical. Coming in, I really wasn't that big for an inside linebacker, and I still might not be the biggest, but just getting in the weight room, lifting, and then also getting faster too.
So getting size and speed, that's
Yep.
double killer there. And this being your final season, you try not to think about that?
Yeah, you try not to think about it. You just go every week, week by week, and then, day by day even in the practice and trying to get better each and every week.
You're studying elementary education?
Yep, elementary ed.
When's your graduation set for?
This spring, hopefully.
Okay. And
Do
what are
some
you?
student teaching in the spring.
Okay. Are you hoping to teach in state or?
Yeah, I'm trying to get student teaching in Britain this year, so I'm close to home and can still watch the Langford Lions and actually try to help coach them. So
Cool. Well, to wrap things up, I always ask what 3 books, CDs, or movies, if you're going on a long road trip or got stranded on an island, what it could be any of those. What would you take or kill some time with?
probably watching movies. I like to sit back every night, watch a little bit of a movie at least. So.
Which ones would you? What are some of your favorites?
Some of my favorites are Friday Night Lights, The Blind Side, kind of a lot of
Football
sports
stuff.
movies,
Okay.
yeah. Football, sports movies.
Sounds good. Well, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike Alberts there, linebacker for your Northern Wolves. We'll be back with more Tracking the Wolves coming up next.
We know you want family-friendly sporting events
Sporting events where you can be comfortable.
and entertained in a positive environment. Watching great individuals and teams compete.
With commitment, effort, and good sportsmanship. That's what the Division II Game Environment Initiative is about.
Be a part of the excitement and find out why. These student athletes say with pride,
I chose
I chose Division II.
Welcome back to this edition of Tracking the Wolves here. Ben Root alongside you, and time to talk a little volleyball now. And joining us on the show is Cari McGarvie, the junior middle hitter for the Wolves out of Lincoln, Nebraska. How you doing, Cari?
I'm good.
Not nervous or anything, right?
Nope.
Well, you come in from down in Lincoln to Aberdeen here. How big of an adjustment was it moving up here from there?
I don't think it was that hard just because I wanted to go into like a closer community. Like,
Something smaller than...
yeah,
Like,
I wasn't, and even in Lincoln, I wasn't like into I was in the country, so I wasn't,
Okay.
I'm like used to the small town like environment.
So more of the kind of suburb
Yeah.
area of Lincoln. Okay. Did you you went into town though a lot, I'm sure, right?
Well, I mean, I was like right out of city limits, so
Okay.
yeah.
What would you miss most out of Lincoln the last couple of years?
Honestly, probably just the different food choices.
What's the best place to eat in Lincoln?
Hoo-ha, definitely Hoo-ha.
Down there. Okay. I don't know. I was in Nebraska for a year. We only went to Omaha. I never went to Lincoln, even to a football game. But is volleyball, would you say it's second to football in Nebraska, or would you say there's something else up there as far as the fandom goes, if you will?
I think it's pretty even, like in Nebraska, like volleyball and football go hand in hand because all the football games sell out, all the volleyball games sell out, even with them being in the Bob Devaney now. Like, it's just a really good fan base.
Yeah, it's a nice place there too.
Yeah.
I remember watching a lot of stuff down there when I was living down there. Do you know a lot of people that own red vehicles? That was the other thing that stuck out to me living down there. There's so many red cars. You ever think about that?
I mean, my dad has a red vehicle, but
Oh, there
I
you
don't
go.
really notice it.
It just all blends in, I guess. Now, looking at your play, a strong sophomore campaign, 243 last season is what you hit. Led the team in blocks. Really stepping it up, though, this year, hitting 441. I don't know how you're hitting 441. That seems like a misprint. What have you done to kind of adjust that from last year to this year, cut down on your errors and everything?
I think that the last 2 years I've been more of like a just hit it as hard as you can kind of person. This year I feel like I'm smarter about like certain choices. Like instead of just hitting it as hard as I could. Like last year, like I think about like certain shots that I could take or like just a spot to put it instead of hitting it as hard as I can.
Okay, so you're easing up a little bit more. Are you getting more used to Drew as a setter? Is that something you need to adjust too much, or is she pretty consistent out there, I think?
I think this year especially Drew's been like really good about getting the sets to the right people, and like I think she's really consistent this year, like spot wise. Like you can tell with everyone's hitting percentages, like she's spot on.
Yeah, numbers really up this year, and the errors are way down, and that's the offensive side of things. But another part of it, defense, and some people think blocking is overrated. Personally, I don't. I think blocking is pretty key, and you're really doing a good job with that right now, leading the team with over 1 per set. What's been kind of the key to stopping some of the shots on defense up there?
Well, coach does a really good job on like scouting reports, so I like pay special attention to like what shots people mainly hit, and then also like I try to like wait and then move. Like I'm trying to do what coach tells me more this year, like on blocking, because I think that defense is the most important.
Is it? So you're saying waiting longer so you know where the set's going rather than try to guess?
Yeah, instead of guessing, I'd rather wait and then go.
Okay. I noticed a lot of teams too kind of, at least the ones that are more successful, like I remember seeing Wayne last year. I didn't check the one this year. I mean, I looked at the stats, but I couldn't watch the game. But a lot of teams seem to have success with, dinks against you and what have you. Is that something you're keep an eye out more for nowadays, or?
I think that our back row is doing a good job with it now. Like now that they know like teams are doing it more, like they're paying attention to it and like they're getting more digs up, and it's like really good in the back row.
And you talk about tendencies. It does seem like certain teams do it more than others too.
Yeah, Wayne does it a lot.
Of course, some freshmen that are getting a lot of playing time this year with Karofsky and Bush out there quite a bit, having a good season. You've been pretty impressed by them, or?
Yeah, just their like first week, like I just the way that they like played, their energy was just a lot different than I'm used to. Like I'm not used to outsides being so, I don't know, they're just really into the game, and they bring just a different, I don't know, just a different focus maybe, because like they have 2 shots, like they can get a kill when we need it. Like it's really nice to have somebody up there that is hitting it at like such a high percentage like they are.
It's not quite Chambers level energy though, right? Because that's
yeah.
That's like a different level. It seems like sometimes out there. I don't know, but they're both from Minnesota too, aren't they? Or
yeah.
But they were different teams, I think. So it wasn't a team thing there, I guess.
Yeah.
Speaking of energy, whenever we chat with Coach Aldridge, he always seems pretty mellow. What's the most, I guess, energized or amped up you've seen Coach?
Oh, I think this year for sure, after our Augie win, it was a pretty good win. He was pretty pumped up about that, and like after the game, you can just like see it on his face that like it's not getting any better than that.
Yeah, so it was a nice bounce back you had this past weekend after dropping the one in Wayne. Then you come back in kind of the opposite fashion, extra points in the first set, and then the other team wins the next 3.
Yeah.
Now, at Augie, do you get a better atmosphere there when you play in Augustana, being kind of the in-state rival, if you will, even though Sioux Falls is down there too?
I don't know, maybe for other people, but like I definitely like I have a better atmosphere in Wayne just because it's, I don't know, it's in Nebraska, and like little things. Like Augie's a great place to play. Like their gym is great, but I don't know. I think
Rice is pretty nice though too in Wayne, isn't
it? It's okay. It's small.
It's on the smaller side. Okay.
They fill the gym, so it's a nice atmosphere, I guess.
Well, it's weird because all the stands are on one side. It seemed big to me when cause that's where I was. I was calling games there.
Yeah.
But it's just a different setup than most of the places you go to, and
yeah,
kind of Well, this weekend you've got Sioux Falls coming in and SMSU, which moved up to number 7 this week in the standings. They kind of flip-flopped 7 and 9 the last couple weeks. We talked to Mike Alberts as well and about watching tape, and we talked to other players about that. Do you do that in volleyball? Do you watch tape prepping for these teams very much?
Yeah, I watch a lot of video. Like, we used to put practices up, but like now that we've had so many games, like we don't get it up as much. But I like to watch like our games, and I like to watch like the teams we're gonna play, like just so I know like what tendencies they have before we scout them. I don't know. I just like to be prepared.
So are you mainly focusing on your defense, trying to watch their hitters and what their tendencies are, or maybe their defense and where you should find weaknesses in their to put it down?
Kind of more like their hitters, just because I know like every team blocks different against like another team. Like they're gonna block us differently than they block another team, just because like we have different offenses. So
okay.
Yeah.
So it's more of a defensive key for you then.
Yeah.
To watch that. Right now you're 8th in the NSIC, 5-3 in conference, tied with Augie 7th, if you will, I guess that way. Is it kind of frustrating to you being in such a good conference? I mean, so many ranked teams right now, or would you prefer it this way, or would you like maybe to be one of like 3 or 4 teams that are really good or something?
I would pick this conference again, like if I had to choose again, just because the teams that we are playing are good, but like we are better, like we're good too. Like I think that we are a really good team, so I think we can hang with the best. Like I want to play the best, and then we'll keep getting better.
So I'd rather go that route, which makes sense. So a lot better competition, and it's a fun, makes for a much more fun season, I think, that way too. Getting to wrap things up with Cari McGarvie here from your Wolves volleyball team. As far as the school aspect, you're a business admin major. Schooling going okay for you?
Yeah, it's getting tougher now that I'm a junior, but it's okay.
I thought it was supposed to get easier because you're more used to it.
Well, you would think so.
The classes are harder. I guess that doesn't help. But,
yeah.
Are you on pace and everything as far as where you want to be with that, or for graduation and all that stuff?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm a accounting major, so I switched last year.
Okay.
But I think that I'll be able to graduate when I want to be done.
Sounds good. What would be something that people would be surprised to learn about you? Suitable for air, I guess.
I don't know. Kind of an open book, so I don't know.
No hidden talents? You can juggle or something?
Nope.
Okay. And last but not least, if you're going on a road trip somewhere and you can only take 3 CDs or books or movies to kill time, what would you take to kill the time?
Remember the Titans, favorite movie. Then you have to have a funny one, so anything with Melissa McCarthy in it, probably. And then just a Disney movie.
Just some sort of Disney movie? Okay. That sounds fine. Well, thanks for joining us on the show.
Yep, thanks.
Thanks. There's Cari McGarvie with your Wolves volleyball team. Back with more Tracking the Wolves in just a moment.
NCAA championships are something special.
Filled with memories we will carry with us for the rest of our lives.
We ask that you cheer hard for your institutions.
Acting responsibly and courteously towards those around you.
In the spirit of sportsmanship, enjoy the game, and let's provide our student athletes, coaches, officials, and fellow fans the respect they deserve.
Well, time to put another episode of Tracking the Wolves to bed with a look at the week ahead in Northern sports. This weekend, volleyball team's going to get to play in their home court as Wolves bring in University of Sioux Falls for a Friday night tilt before clashing with 7th-ranked SMSU this Saturday afternoon. Cross-country teams are running up north Friday when they take part in the Jimmy Invite. Soccer squad's going to get back to Jersey Field this weekend. They'll host Upper Iowa and Winona State on Saturday and Sunday, respectively, and those contests both start at 1 o'clock. Finally, your Wolves football team is going to go in search of a third straight win when they visit Moorhead Friday. Kickoff set for 2 o'clock against the Dragons with the broadcast with yours truly on ESPN 1420 1071, starting with the pregame show at 1:20. That'll do it for this week's edition of Tracking the Wolves. To stay up to date on the latest Northern sports notes, join me again for another episode next week. And until then, as always, go Wolves.